when we take advantage of collating scientific data, developing applications, and farmers in the village, even my mother now, who is 60-something years, has a smartphone. These farmers can get critical information that is timely, information that has been analyzed. Because with AI, once you feed information to an application, the analysis is done by the application and you receive advice that is scientifically viable. It is therefore important that we expedite this bill, that we improve on this bill to ensure that it embodies the component of artificial intelligence so that we can also involve our young people in farming. We can take advantage of the knowledge that they have, given the advantage that they have grown up in the era of social media, where Facebook groups are now even created purposely for farming. So farmers can share reviews, they can share their concerns, they can exchange information, and this has made it easier for us. So we must also tap into that for the benefit of our farmers. Honorable Speaker, as I wind up, these agricultural extension officers will also be able to advise farmers on market expectations so that we have a buyer versus supplier balance. I therefore support this bill, and I urge members to also contribute to enhance it at the proper stage. I'll be giving my contributions in regard to the same. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Thank you, and well said. Join me in welcoming students from the Honorable Adan. There are 4 people before you, and I'll give them, then I'll give you. So just relax. We have students up there in the speaker's gallery from Kajiado High School. Kajiado High School is in Kajiado Central, Kajiado County. Please join me in welcoming them. And we have students seated in the public gallery from Bavuni Secondary School, Nakuru North Constituency, Nakuru County. They all come to follow proceedings this morning. The next to contribute to this is the Honorable Makali Mulu of Kitui Central.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate the time you've given me to join my colleagues in supporting this important bill, the Agricultural Extension Bill, Extension Officers Bill. Honorable Speaker, when we were young and joined secondary school, any teacher who came to our class would say, agriculture is the main bone of our economy. And those are the days when crops like coffee, and a teacher who came to our class, secondary school, any teacher who came to our class would say, agriculture is the main bone of our economy. And those are the days when crops like coffee, crops like tea, crops like varethrum were contributing seriously to this economy in terms of economic growth and also in terms of foreign exchange earner. Honorable Speaker, over time, we have seen this important sector continue declining in terms of its contribution to the GDP of this country. But Honorable Speaker, you realize that if you did an analysis of economic growth in this country and sectoral growth of some of these sectors, you find that, Honorable Speaker, anytime agriculture has done well in this economy, the economic growth of the country goes up, which means agriculture is like the main driver to our economic growth. And that being the case, Honorable Speaker, then it means that it is important we do what it takes to support this sector. Honorable Speaker, the extension officers, when I was young, my mom, despite being illiterate, she was a very good farmer. And up to now, she does serious farming at her age. She's about 87. And Honorable Speaker, I would see these agricultural extension officers coming to our farm. Those days, he used to go carrying some wood and, to measure the terraces and all that. And anytime you saw them, you could see value addition to the work of the farmer. And those are the old days, Honorable Speaker. These days, to get an extension officer, you have to go looking for them. Why are we looking for extension officers? Because over time, the government stopped recruiting them. And to make things worse, Honorable Speaker, the governors have even not recruited them. And the few who are there are demotivated. They are not supported with allowances to go to the field. They are never given cars. They are never given even bicycles. They are not even given motorcycles. The old days, they would come with bicycles. So, Honorable Speaker, when I look at this bill is the way Kenya should be going in terms of the right direction. And Honorable Speaker, we all know agriculture is devolved. And we do support devolution. But Honorable Speaker, I think it is important to realize that agriculture can never do well if we don't have extension officers. It can never do well. Because this is the link between technology and the farmer. These are the people who know which pesticides and which drugs you need to treat for the farmers' crops. They are the people who know what is the latest technology in town so that farmers can improve their productivity, which has just been mentioned. But when they are not there, then we leave farmers on their own. And I know, Honorable Speaker, I think it is important. I don't know whether we have a capacity to say that whatever budget goes to the governor's office or to the counties, that a specific percentage be set aside for the extension officers. In that case, then, Honorable Speaker, will ensure that we have extension officers in this country, and more so in areas which are agriculture-rich areas, where agriculture does very well. The same case would also apply, Honorable Speaker, in areas where livestock does well, like Northeastern, like our region, the Ukambani region, where we can do very well in terms of keeping cows, keeping goats, and all those other related livestock animals, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, what I'm saying short is, I think this bill, being a Senate bill, and being introduced this house by Honorable Mutunga, is the right bill, but even the timing, I think we're actually late. It should have come many, many, many years ago, maybe when we started devolution, so that we get these important officers in the field. And if we do that, Honorable Speaker, we'll be helping this country. But now, coming to the extension of, I think there are a few things, Honorable Speaker, we need to get right. In terms of training, during our days, Honorable Speaker, used to hear Bukura Agricultural Institute. We used to have Ukambani Agricultural Institute. We used to have Embu Agricultural Institute. Those were the middle level institutes, training diploma level. And then we used to have our own campus, Kabete campus, which used to train at the degree level. And you realize over time, we have almost killed all the diploma level colleges. Now we are remaining the degrees. So, and I think really, there's no way we would have graduates visiting all these farmers because they would feel they are a bit senior. I think still we need to come up with that procedure where we have the middle level institutions like Okai, the Bukura of this world, so that they can provide the middle level personnel who would be able to visit the farmers. And by doing that, we will get it right. So in terms of training, we need to get it right. The other area we need to get right, Honorable Speaker, is we need to get it right in terms of facilitation. Facilitation in terms of transport. It is now easier. Motorcycles have become very cheap to procure, Honorable Speaker. If we provided them with motorcycles, the way we have done with the chiefs, then they can be able to penetrate those remote areas of this country and support our farmers so that we grow this economy. The other thing we must do, Honorable Speaker, is there must be provision of allowances. You can call them lunch allowance, you can call them travel allowance, but there must be provision of allowances so that even as the county government's budget, they make provision for so that when they go to the field, they are able then to do their work without really complaining that we don't have lunch allowances, we don't have fuel and all those things. So, Honorable Speaker, I really want to support this bill and say that I urge other colleagues that we support this bill. And my wish would be if we can actually have it fast-tracked. We have seen, Honorable Speaker, bills being fast-tracked in this House so that they become acts of parliament. If we can fast-track this bill so that it becomes an act of parliament, we will be helping this country and this economy, more so in terms of growth, because agriculture still remains our mainstay of our economy, and agriculture still remains the hugest contributor to our economic growth. With those many remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you so much.
Member for Seme.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support this bill because, Mr. Speaker, this bill addresses the biggest gap in our agricultural industry. The extension workers are actually the feet with which the industry moves. Whatever policies, whatever strategies we put for improving agriculture, the only level or the only cadre that can take them to the ground where work actually occurs are the extension workers. Mr. Speaker, somebody has said the extension workers are actually the link between science and agriculture. Whether you have new technology, whether you have new farm inputs, whatever you have, it will not reach the farmers unless we have the extension workers. And therefore, it is only them that will improve the productivity, will improve the agronomy, will improve the value chain. Whatever we do, those are the people that we need. I therefore support this bill, Mr. Speaker, because it does what is most important when we want to actually make change, which is create a structure. So this bill actually creates a structure. If you look at the objects, it actually creates a national and county agricultural extension services strategy. So that actually gives the policy, we'll put down the policy, the strategies want to do, they'll be in place. So at least there's somebody now who will be expected and have the responsibility of doing that. So Speaker, it then creates the board. Again, this is important, but the proposal is here, and I want to say something about this board. The composition of the board, to a large extent, is appropriate with 3 members appointed by the Council of Governors. And whereas I support that, I think that at least the 2 of them that are experts should have direct link, and we should put it in the Act, direct link. For example, if you have the CECs, the CECs or the ministers, as they call at that level, who are appointed from the counties through the Council of Governors. If we just have an expert who is appointed by the Council of Governors as a pure expert, again they will actually lose track as why they are in that board. And again, what I've seen about the functions of the board, the board is advising the minister. If you look at all its functions, its focus is the minister. And remember, the minister is at the national level. So I think in that area, we should really look that the board should not see itself to a large extent as actually a hand of the minister, but should see itself as an entity that is serving the county government as well as the national government. So, Speaker, again, this bill brings out the role of county governments. And one of the important roles that I noticed, Mr. Speaker, is the recruitment of extension service officers. These are actually the people And it is right that actually they're recruited by the county government. But if you look at the whole extension, as we have put it in the bill, if you're not careful, we may have actually some kind of conflict between the national government and the county government, because this looks clearly as a national government entity. And the relationship we have had with the national government and the county government, unfortunately, has been adversarial, so that it may not work very well. So that's an area we should look at. And these employees, they are county employees, but you're getting that their employment is being kind of initiated or advised from the board, which looks like a national function. I think that is extremely important. And again, if you look at the finances that are there, this board is solely financed, not solely, but financed mainly from Parliament. And that means, again, it is a national function. So boards, all institutions will tend to be loyal to where their finances come from. And therefore, we have to look at other ways of financing that makes this board feel that its main function, it will only be felt if the extension workers are actually available and functioning at the county level. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill, but I think we have to look at the issue of the relationship between this board, the national government, the county governments, so that there is free flow of information and function. You know, just to take an example, look at the UHC workers that we are having here. They were recruited by the public service. Now their role is at the Ministry of Health, but they are working at the counties. So now when we have a problem, we really are not sure who should do what. So I support the bill, I support the structures, but the proposer is here, the co-sponsor is here, and I think we should look at that relationship very, very well. We'll also put some amendments, if necessary, when we come to the third reading. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well said. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this bill is a timely bill. Timely because it brings about a serious definitional clarity on the meaning of agriculture and livestock. I can see my good friend, my elder brother here, the Honorable Aaron Haji, who is a professional product of livestock service, livestock extension service, actually not only in the Northern Kenya region, but in the entire country, actually a pioneer. The Speaker, over the years, as a country, we have had so many missed opportunities. On the face of it, Mr. Speaker, if you just sit down and reflect, we have a country. Our number one agenda is food security. Food security has a definition. The World Food Program in 1996, in the summit of 1996, defined food security as the means all people at all times have physical and economic access to sufficient, safe, nutritious food that meets their dietary needs and food preferences for active and healthy life. Is that what we have been doing? Is that what we do? It isn't. Mr. Speaker, this bill, I must congratulate the author, the supporters, and those colleagues in the Senate who have attempted to look at this bill. We ought to have had this bill a long time ago. Mr. Speaker, some of the components the bill attempts to do is to help the farmers in assessing knowledge, in getting information, and getting serious technological transfers, because farming has been modernized. It's not like the old days, Mr. Speaker, where we used to have archaic, Mr. Speaker, farming methods that didn't add a lot of value to the well-being of the ordinary farmer. Mr. Speaker, this bill also attempts to enhance and modernize some of our agricultural practices. The bill, Mr. Speaker, enhances and attempts to bring about issues that can enhance economic productivity. Mr. Speaker, the bill also provides avenue for training. The bill also attempts, Mr. Speaker, to bring support market linkages, Mr. Speaker, that will also bring about sustainability. Mr. Speaker, when you were in school, we used to get access to the 4K clubs. We used to be encouraged to join the agricultural market organization, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today, if you ask the ordinary farmer, the kind of things that they do and what they're expected to do are completely different. Mr. Speaker, for those of us who are livestock farmers, this country, the definition of agriculture was on coffee, on tea, on paideram, Mr. Speaker, and other things that are found in central Kenya. But Mr. Speaker, we have a country. Look at the face of this country. Agriculture encompasses livestock, I'll even say fishing, add it, marine, all these activities. We need to get out of that cage, and this is part of the colonial mentality. Mr. Speaker, immediately when we got our independence, there's this paper called Sessional Paper number 10 of 1965. That paper defined agriculture as those high potential areas. Like what? Potential areas in the context of the livestock farmer in the larger Mount Kenya region. And what was available in the larger Mount Kenya region? Coffee, tea, paideram. Period. Those treasury mandarins, those in the planning ministry, stopped thinking about the face of this country. In their mind, fish was a commodity for the Luo farmer, for the Luo subsistence farmer. Livestock was predominantly associated with the pastoralist communities in parts of northern Kenya and Rift Valley, Mr. Speaker. That definition must change. And this is why I'm very happy with this bill, because it brings about that definitional clarity. And I want to thank Dr. Mutunga and team for doing this. Mr. Speaker, we need also to diversify our economy. If ever you get an opportunity to go to a country like Saudi Arabia, or Israel, or Jordan, or Egypt, please just visit some of the farms. And those countries are deserts. Today, Saudi Arabia is the largest wheat producing country in the world. Actually, they are competing with Australia and the US. If you go to Israel today, the kind of dairy farming that you see here, you'll be amazed. Go to Jordan on the other side. What has happened? The country deliberately invested in technological transfer, Mr. Speaker, and in the empowerment of the ordinary farmer. Is that what we do today? Mr. Speaker, that's not what we do today. Mr. Speaker, during the colonial time, and I'm glad that my sister from Narok is here, and Honorable Anna Haji, we used to have livestock marketing division, LMD. We used to have livestock holding grounds. We used to have livestock migratory routes. And Mr. Speaker, we have had a vibrant, functioning Kenya Meat Commission. We have had, Mr. Speaker, in 1968, and this is the sad part of our history, and we must say this for the current generation and for the next generation. The newly independent Botswana sent a very high-powered agricultural extension officers to come and do a benchmarking with the Kenya Meat Commission. Mr. Speaker, today, the Botswana Meat Commission provides meat to the entire EU market. The Kenya Meat Commission is still struggling, Mr. Speaker, with nothing today practically that you can mention. And you know eventually what happened? One of the products of the Kenya Meat Commission, a Kenyan, ended up being the PS for livestock in Botswana. And today, he is one of the most respected livestock farmers in Botswana. In Botswana. Mr. Speaker, isn't it the high time that we call a spade a spade? Mr. Speaker, I am a camel farmer. Is there anybody today who has an idea of any sustainable, available market for the camel farmer in Kenya? It isn't. Go to Ethiopia today. There's an established department and market for the camel farmer. Go to Somalia, Mr. Speaker, which has had serious security issues. The market is vibrant. Go to Djibouti, it's the same. Mr. Speaker, isn't it high time that we sit down and reflect on our attempts, viable attempts, to make this country food secure? Mr. Speaker, isn't it high time that we stop associating this giant Ministry of Livestock and Agriculture with only the coffee? I'm not in any way trying to demean the coffee and tea farmers. They are doing a superb job, but we need also to diversify our economy. We need to reach the brains of those technocrats at that particular ministry. And I'm glad that my good friend, the Honorable Kagwe, a genius product from that region, is making attempts to reach out to the other parts of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this bill is good, it is timely, and I really want to pray that these ego-driven attempts for individual aggrandizement, Mr. Speaker, will not derail this bill, because anything that we do, there are people who think about, they personify those big things without really thinking about what benefits the ordinary people. Mr. Speaker, what we have is not a federation. What we have is not a federal state. What we have is an economic revolution. And you know it, you are a lawyer. Kenya is not a federal state. Those counties are supposed to provide linkages to, issues are supposed to trickle down from the national government all the way to the villages. But everybody wants to create a cocoon, an outfit that is completely detached from the national reality. I think it is high time that we go back and audit the August 2010 Constitution, because it's not working. It is making this country bankrupt. It has created so many echelons which have attempted to, pursue avenues that will only add value to their personal benefits. Mr. Speaker, this bill is good. I want to agree with what the Honorable Dr. Ikala said. Let's also not create many overlapping and conflicting. And therefore, I support Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, and well said. Our members, today we got another school visiting us. Order. Seated in the public gallery at this time are students from Masinga Girls, from Masinga constituency, Machakos County. They are welcome to our proceedings this morning. And seated in the speakers gallery are students from Moi Girls Isinya, Kajedo East constituency, Kajedo County. They are all welcome to follow our proceedings this morning. Our members, before I give the Honorable Emase, I would like to give the Honorable Mario 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to welcome the students that have come to the premises of Parliament to be able to learn the proceedings of this House, and also to see the members of Parliament is contributing in the debate. So I would like to welcome all of them, the Moi Kitengela, the Masinga Girls, where I represent them, and I would like to welcome them to feel free to watch the debate and be able to learn something as they go home, so that they can say they were in Parliament today. You are also part of the debate. You watch and go with something, and you are most welcome. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Teso South.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this very important bill. Honorable Speaker, the importance of agricultural extension officers cannot be overemphasized. This bill is very timely because it's coming at a time when farmers in this country are operating in an environment devoid of the basic knowledge, training, and support that was being given by extension officers. Honorable Speaker, last year I was working with a CBO I created in my constituency. and we are trying to do some work around agribusiness. I want to tell you it was difficult to get extension officers. I had to seek the services of Calro, because sometimes you even need to test the soil so that the farmer is advised on what crop to plant where for them to get the highest yield, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, extension officers, as I remember in the past, the days when we had extension officers, would even go to the field and do demonstration, offer demonstration services. Agriculture today is one of the most evolving sectors. It is mechanized. There are new methods of and technology is being used all over across the world. We need these extension officers. But Honorable Speaker, when you look at our counties today, for some, they do not even have the extension officers. Those who are there are aging, are almost retiring. They have been phased out through natural attrition and have not been replaced. So as we speak about this bill, we must deliberately as a house make sure that enough resources have been allocated. Or we've impressed upon the counties to make sure they have allocated enough resources to be able to facilitate the extension officers and to be able to recruit more extension officers. Because for even those who have a few extension officers, Honorable Speaker, they have no money for facilitation, no means of transport to be able to access the remotest areas. Most of our farmers are in the most remotest areas where even road network is very poor, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, as I say, this bill is coming at a time when we need it the most. Extension officers are the ones who organize the workshops, even with the administration at our chiefs areas, our assistant chiefs areas, to be able to give capacity to the farmers. Today, government is putting in a lot of money, constructing industrial parks. We have one in Busia, almost complete. We needed to have these extension officers on the ground within these areas to educate the farmers, to do advocacy, to encourage them on what plants, like in Busia, to plant the palm oil, the simsim, the groundnuts, because then we are going to complete these industrial parks, Honorable Speaker, and we shall not have the byproducts for value addition so that we can be able to create employment opportunities. Yet we have so many young people who have graduated from the Sigalagala, from all the vocational, from the national polytechnics across the country. And they're jobless, Honorable Speaker. Yet there is a lot of potential. So we must be deliberate on this, and we must support this bill, and we must follow this particular function with resources. Otherwise, approving this bill and not giving money to operationalize it will be a cost in vain. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I support.
Member for Saku.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity.
1 minute. You know what I do when I'm presiding. I will not skip anybody. I'll follow the list the way you came. So just relax, bid your time and speak based on what time you came. Go ahead.
Give me the mic. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I agree with you. People must bid their time. And thank you for this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I rise to support this very important bill. I want to share an experience with the House. A few weeks ago, I visited Yatta in Machakos, and I met a gentleman called Bishop Masika of Sitam Church. And very interesting, he had this scientific approach to food production where he concentrates on 1 acre as the basic unit area for maximum food production. And in our discussion, what he told me has really been imprinted in my mind. And he said this: there are no dry lands, there are only dry mines. And I think that is real and really poignant. Honorable Speaker, agriculture contributes 22 to 24% to our GDP. Of this, between 8 and 9% is contributed by livestock. This is how important agriculture is to this country and how important is livestock in food production. And I really want to share what Honorable Kainan just said before me, that many years ago, at the beginning of the Republic of Kenya, there are many things we were getting right, particularly in the area of livestock. For those of us who come from the livestock producing areas, of having the LMD, the Livestock Marketing Board, the extension officers, the range management officers, everything that contributed to significant production in the livestock sector. Honorable Speaker, although agriculture remains the backbone of our economy, many think that the soft industries are the ones that are driving our economy. But that is far from the truth. All these other sectors of our economy, agriculture remains the anchor. Walk around Nairobi, go to Mombasa, go to major cities. There's the feeling that the service industry is what runs our economy. And I don't believe that is true. Those service industry exist as a result of our effort in agriculture. And that is why this bill is really significant. And it must be a milestone in our legislation as legislators of the 13th Parliament. And we must put our names on paper. Honorable Speaker, agriculture officers are the frontline scientists. Wherever you find extension officers are active, it doesn't matter whether they are in livestock or agriculture. Actually, you will see significant improvement in food production, involvement of farmers, motivation, and they are able to identify even diseases much faster. And even the fall in food production within a particular area, the extension officers are quickly able to tell that it is because of using this or that fertilizer or because of this or that insects that are destroying that particular crop. We are also aware that in the olden days, agriculture officers were able to come up with pilot schemes, animal vaccination centers, so that they are able to help in fighting diseases, but at the same time in helping in food production. In this particular bill, what I really want to request the sponsor is to quickly identify the baseline between what is the role of the national government in this particular bill and what is the role of the county. We cannot be saying the county is also part of it and the national government is part of it. Then we pass a law that nobody is responsible in terms of policy or implementation. In that case, we are constituting boards and we are giving people CEO jobs in vain. We cannot be wasting public resources when we are seeing it right in front of our eyes. Honorable Speaker, with the problem of global warming and climate change, are we keeping up with the tide? This country depends on agriculture for a greater part of its economy. And looking at things around us, and Professor Mathari Wangai once said, when things around you are dying, then just know you'll be the next. And that is the effect of climate change and global warming. We are among the countries in the world of the South that are likely to be affected so much, with long droughts, with floods, with short, heavy rains, that farmers do not even have time to plant. For that reason, we must come up with clever strategies so that this country, for posterity, will not suffer, or generations that will come after us must enjoy their lives and feel proud to live in this great country. Finally, Honorable Speaker, this issue of boats. A few months ago, we as the Pastoralist Parliamentary Group, we requested the formation of livestock marketing board. To date, although it has been gazetted, it is not functioning. Livestock contributes almost, as I said before, 8 to 10% to our economy. And that cannot be just wasted away by lack of decision, by lack of operationalization, and by lack of people making the right decision at the right time. For that reason, I support this bill. And what I think is we must identify who does what so that the counties and the national government should not be competing in the same space or using the same resources at the same time for doing the same job. That I call duplication. With those remarks, Honorable Speaker, I thank you for the time.
Well said. Remember for Narok South. Narok North, I'm sorry. The Honorable Pareo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this bill. This is a very important bill because it involves farmers. And agriculture and livestock are the backbone of our economy today in this country. Because most of our people depend on agriculture and livestock to earn money to take care of their families. And therefore, there is need for us to support the extension officers who form the link between the farmers and the new technology that is there to improve farming and to improve yields that people get so that they can make money. Agriculture is a devolved function. And I'm sorry to say that the county governments have no resources and are not able to run these services the way it's supposed to be. I thank God that education was not devolved, because already the sectors that were devolved have a problem, because we have a problem in agriculture, we also have a problem in agriculture, and we also have a problem in health. And these sectors are directly involved with our people. But for this one, I think there is need for the extension officers to be supported. Because with the new technology that is coming up to improve our agriculture, then we need people who understand and who can help our local people at the ground there so that they can also improve the way they do agriculture. And for that reason, I think it is important for the extension officers to be given licenses and also to be supported. They also need to be supported so that they can go around as we used to have in our old days, where people depended on the extension officers so that our soil can be tested, so that we don't go growing what cannot do well in our farms. For that reason, I support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Member for Busia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support this bill because time has passed when we used to do things haphazardly and just gazing without upping our game in increasing productivity, because also the population keeps increasing, and also the pesticides that have been there and other knowledge that farmers have been applying. I think the enemy of the crop and livestock has also been clever enough to keep changing to survive on the crop and livestock. So the extension officers that we know, usually you can find one in a very big location. We do not have enough of these officers to support the farmers or be there on time to adequately give the appropriate advice if anything befalls the farmers. The extension officers are not trained oftenly, and they actually lack funding to make them reach every farmer. So most of the time they lack even how to access some interior places where we really have indigenous rooted agriculturalists, real farmers who don't even think of white collar jobs but depend 100% on agriculture. And the technology has changed in advance, where if you don't train these officers, even if they were to reach the farmers, they will reach there but just have a normal tete-a-tete instead of giving the know-how, the skills that are needed to these farmers. So to effectively support farmers, we need to take this section seriously as a nation and give adequate funding to this section, because when I was young, I was told agriculture is the backbone of our nation. So how can it be a backbone and it is weak itself? It means we cannot feed all our people and also supply, because if it is the backbone, then it should bring in foreign exchange as well. So I support this bill fully, and it was long overdue.
Thank you. Member for Mandela West. Is Mandela West?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support this motion. Extension officers are key to our farming systems. I got the opportunity of working as an extension officer for a very long time. And during the olden days, when food production was adequate, it was because the extension officers were in place, farmers were being guided properly. We used to have something called training and visit. The extension officers, after 14 days, are brought together somewhere. They are trained with all the new technologies. They are equipped with all the new equipments that are required. And then the next 14 days, they go out there to train the farmers from farm to farm. That is just like a school, farmer school, where the extension officers are the teachers. In cases whereby, like now, the extension officers are neither not there, or they are just too few, and they are demoralized so much that even the few that are there are almost doing nothing. It means that farmers are like students in a classroom that is in their farm with no teacher. What do you expect? What performance do you expect? Students who are in a class throughout the year, come end of the year for exam, definitely those students who have never seen a teacher will not perform the way it is required. This is exactly the same for the farmers. Farmers are there doing their business as usual, the way they used to do generations after generations. This day and time, there is a lot of new technology whereby the farmers need to be updated by the extension officers. It is unfortunate that since, I think, the devolution, the extension service has not been given priority as it is required. For us to be food secure, for us to have adequate food to feed ourselves, we must practice the current farming practices. Otherwise, with population increase, with more mouths to feed, and if our extension services is not there, and the farmers continue to do their farming the way they used to do many years ago, you do not, with climate change, you do not expect any adequate food production in the country. And a country where the citizens are hungry is the same as slavery. Because when the citizens are hungry, they can do anything to go out there, try to feed themselves, even by sabotaging the country itself. Or they migrate out of wherever they are, and that is a loss of labor. And therefore, extension services must be given the priority it requires. And these days, there are a lot of people who are not qualified because there are no checks and balances. They go out there because of the vacuum of a lack of extension officers. They go out there, pretend that they are qualified extension officers, and they do great messes in the farms to an extent whereby farmers are misled because they think these are people who are knowledgeable and who are bringing them extension service. They listen to them, they mess up, and ultimately their food production becomes nil. This is why this bill is very important, because whoever calls himself or herself an extension officer must be certified, must be qualified, and must have checks and balances so that we don't have quacks trying to manipulate our farmers and hence interfering with our productivity in the country. We have a lot of educated young men in the field of agriculture, in the field of livestock, in the field of fisheries, and in the field of other agricultural sector. But since the county governments are not prioritizing the extension services, and agriculture has been devolved, and then this is now where the situation is going from bad to worse every year. So this bill, I think we should pass it as quickly as possible and make sure that it is enforced, that people who call themselves extension workers must be qualified people, must be people with passionate, learned, so that they can help the farmers. You remember recently the type of fertilizers that were brought by some crooks in this country. Fertilizers, which is just, the bag shows it is fertilizer, but the content is not fertilizer at all. If we would have effective extension officers in the field, in the port of entry, on transit, that could not have happened. Because of that vacuum of lack of extension officers, because of not prioritizing extension officers, that is why such messes do occur. With these few remarks, I support And we want this bill to be passed as quickly as possible and implemented to the latter. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is member for Nambale, then Umulanya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to speak on this bill. Mr. Speaker, this is one bill that, as members of this House, we need to expedite its legislation so that we can enact it into law. Mr. Speaker, as it has been said, agriculture is the backbone of our economy. And if we improve agriculture, definitely we're improving our economy. Mr. Speaker, for a very long time, farmers in this nation have been left on their own. The government has tried even to subsidize fertilizer, but the question that you ask yourself, as we subsidize and supply this fertilizer, do we have enough officers trained to go and advise the farmers from various areas the best fertilizer applicable to their farms? The answer is no. Because there's no legislation and policy. And Mr. Speaker, on that, I'm exactly thrilled to have a bill that seeks to introduce an agricultural and livestock service policy, which is very key, so that our farmers can have a fallback in terms of seeking advice, whether on crops or livestock. Mr. Speaker, although agriculture is a devolved function, there is great need for the two levels of government to coordinate so that we support the farmers. Because when we leave it to the county governments alone, they may not effectively carry out the services that are required so that our farmers can be properly served. And Mr. Speaker, I'm reading at section 3. The bill seeks to foster coordination and collaboration in extension services, research by national government, county government, non-government organization, learning institution, research bodies, and other non-state actors. And Mr. Speaker, this is where you find that because of the vacuum that has been existing, you find that there are so many non-government organizations that have been occupying it, supplying various crops for and encouraging farmers to plant them without any proper research, providing dairy cattle to farmers. But once a dairy farmer has been given a dairy cattle, there is no veterinary service that this particular farmer will resort to. So you find that most farmers have been resorting to even getting quacks to come and treat their animals, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, you look at section 4 that establishes the National Extension Services Policy. It's very extensive and far-reaching in terms of capacity development of these particular services. You know, we know that, Mr. Speaker, there are emerging issues in every sector. And even agriculture, we have had crops that you find that farmers are complaining that this particular year, crops have failed. Not because we did not have sufficient rain or they did not apply enough fertilizer, but because maybe there was no research, soil sampling done in their farms to advise farmers on which particular seeds they are supposed to plant in that particular region. So there is no guidance to our farmers. They have been left on their own so that they have just been, every farmer come planting season, you find a farmer just approaches an agrovet, buys the seeds, proceeds to the farm without proper advice, knowing what he's supposed to plant. And Mr. Speaker, you know that even in these careers that we have, you realize that this continuous career development, even in these agricultural services, we need to have these agricultural extension services providers that are employed. We have a periodic career advancement so that they research on the emerging issues, the new diseases that can affect the crops, the new diseases that are affecting the animals. So that if we have the way under section 4 to provide that after every 5 years, the government and the county governments are going to look at the agriculture and livestock policy and reevaluate emerging issues and what is supposed to be done to the farmers. So, Mr. Speaker, in my own analysis, this is a very, very important bill. it's very late for us, that it has come very late. So, of course, you consider from the late 80s and early 90s, the government was properly advising farmers on what's supposed to be done, emerging issues, and also crops to be planted in various regions. Right now, we have a clarion call for farmers in Western to plant coffee. But the question is, after we supply them with seedlings, who will advise farmers on the next step so that they can care for this particular crop and get a benefit out of it? So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I fully support this bill and encourage my colleagues so that we expedite this particular motion so that we enact it into law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well said. Member for Kisumu East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, when I was young, and that was some time ago, I'm now 71 years old, there were agricultural extension officers. As much as I understand the basis of this bill, I do not understand why we need to reinvent the wheel. They were there. This bill is just coming up with another board with all their expenses and other things to come up and put together a health policy, agricultural policy statement. And if you look at the membership of that board, we have the chairman who's appointed by the CS, principal secretary, etc., etc., etc. And I don't know why this board needs to be there, why, and it cannot be a department of the Ministry of Agriculture, and it should be the job of the Ministry of Agriculture to put forward a policy document like the Ministry of Health does. I have been involved with the Ministry of Health, and we have done the policy, our draft document strategy papers for the 5 years. I don't see why this should be done. I wonder why, what was the logic from the Senate to go through this and to reinvent the wheel. Mr. Chair, Buona Speaker, sir, agriculture is a pillar of the country. And we must, if we don't have that, and we do not develop that, we're like a three-legged stool. One of them is not working. Now, I've been, and as my brother mentioned earlier, Mishmiwa from Wajir, Adan, even in Saudi Arabia, in the middle of the deserts, they have started doing this. Now, I'm getting concerned why we want to now get something with the national government, with the county government, to marry them together. The UHC, the health, is a classic example of the way this thing went wrong. Why do you want to do it again? I see no reason for this. We were in one of our seeds, Mr. Speaker, sir, were one of the best in Africa. We had the best agriculture research on seeds. Now we have misused that. We had the Kenya Seed Company and others, and they've now most of these guys, there's one called Western Seed, I know them very well, and they're now going to Zambia and developing seed there. We had the capacity under the colonial times and even under the first 20 years or 30 years. We had the capacity to develop the best maize seed in Africa, and we are going now to other places. Now we want a research. For research of what? We have no need to research. We know where we are going. We don't need these so-called white-collar workers coming in with their research. They need to sit down, roll their collars, roll their sleeves up, and come up with a policy. Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm sorry I call you chair. I'm very sorry, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is not what we want. Not another board. As much as I would like to support some of the thoughts that have been given, I actually oppose this whole proposal. Mr. Speaker, sir, livestock also covers fish. And that has been a big problem. Now we are spending so much money. I remember some time ago we spent how many billion counting the fish in the Indian Ocean. Nothing happened of that. Now we are going to open up piers here and there, and we have not seen how we're developing the fish industry in the Lake Victoria as one of the most polluted lakes. So we have a problem. How is this extension services bill going to help us? Namthoi, where I represent Kisumu East, is one of the bread baskets, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I think you know, used to be. But it has been shot down. The extension workers are not able to, don't go there. The county government has no interest in these things, or they have no money. Previously, under the when I was in Kisumu, sir, even as the mayor, next to the DC's office was the county extension workers. And they used to go along, and I remember that we did some dairy cattle promotion in Kajulu, and they were very much working with us. The problem that we have, Mr. Speaker, sir, is the fact that we are always keen to come up with a board, always keen to come up with a committee, always keen to do something else, but not keen to do this. Now, this is the duty and responsibility, Mr. Speaker, of the Ministry of Agriculture solely and fully. Now, we had our president was previously the Minister of Agriculture, and I think he did a good job when he was there. And I think this is a very important issue that we need to work on. Then, Mr. Speaker, another issue that comes to my mind is the issue of irrigation. Mr. Speaker, sir, this country is saddled with a pre-colonial agreement on the Nile Treaty. As much as we want, and we have when in Kisumu, in my constituency, in my county, we get flooded. And then we come into a drought period. And when we want to start saving our water, and we are told the Nile Treaty does not allow us to dam water. The issue is something that we need to deal with, and when we talk about it, we are told, oh, no, this is a national issue. Now, we have also got a number of farmers, Mr. Speaker, sir, who went ahead and got greenhouses. And if you go in my constituency, sir, it's a shame to see some of those greenhouses are rotting. And because the farmer does not understand anymore what's happening. There was a company here, I used to go there, they were the extension workers, but they wanted to be paid. And of course, it did not work. Mr. Speaker, sir, Kisumu, we had peanuts, we had rice, we have cotton, we have sugar. Surely, we are one of the best rice and cotton in the country. Now, what extension workers do we need? The extension workers we need are the ones who are there, and they need to be reappointed. So I would suggest that this bill, which I do not support, should only refer to the issue of national government. I, Mr. Speaker, was part and parcel of the CKRC, the Constitution of Kenya Review Committee. We made a mistake. On health, we made a mistake on agriculture. We should not have given it to the government, totally to the county governments in that manner. Even right now, as I speak, we have problems with the UHC. When we are now talking about combining the national government with the county government, look at what happened to the USC. The universal health care workers who were here yesterday and have been coming every day. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have industrial parks. There's one not far away from you, sir, in Siaya. 700 or 800 million shillings has been, or nearly a billion shillings is there, and the thing is in the middle of nowhere, doing nothing. I don't know whether it's finished or not. Even if you can go and use that area to farm, use that area to, we don't need to research some of these things that we know. How can you research something that you know so well about? And I think that's where we are going wrong. And Mr. Speaker, as I now close, I'm nearly to close. Mr. Speaker, sir, I oppose this whole thing. You know, in the paddy rice in Kenya, in Kisumu, sir, the paddy rice is being taken by Ugandans. They're coming to Kisumu and taking our paddy rice. I thank you very much, sir. And Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity of speaking. I oppose, strongly oppose.
Thank you. Member for Keyo North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this motion because, Mr. Speaker, as a country, we are very loud and very confident that agriculture is a backbone of our economy. But, Mr. Speaker, there are so many things that is taking us as a country, that is making us as a country to lag behind, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, lack of a vibrant extension officers has made our country, has made our farmers to end up getting or harvesting low producers of low quality animals that cannot meet the standards, that is not even attractive to the market, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, quality farm produce and also rearing of good animals can only be achieved by our farmers through having a continuous trainings. And having a vibrant or active extension officers can make our farmers adopt modern technologies that in the long run will help our country to be food sustainable and also in terms of foreign exchange. Mr. Speaker, we have so many programs that is being undertaken by government. Many a times, government is distributing seedlings, avocado, coffee, but the transaction ends there. The ministry of the government only intends to supply seedlings. Then after that, there's no one who is making follow-up because we don't have extension officers that will make a follow-up to ensure that farmers are planting these seeds in the right procedure, following all instructions that in turn it will give value for money. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is the semen. We are saying that we want to improve breeds of our animals. But who is this? Where is this expert that will educate our farmer to ensure that at least all the necessary steps is being followed so that in the long run, all the semen that is being distributed by county government is in the long run achieving the intended purpose. Mr. Speaker, the government of Kenya, the Kenya Kwanza government, started a very noble thing of distributing subsidized fertilizer. But it is also high time to review whether the fertilizers that are being given to farmers are really yielding the results that we intend to get. Because we are putting in a lot of efforts in making sure that we inject farm inputs, but we have not sat down and see whether we are achieving what we want as a country. Government is building industrial parks. Where are those subsidies? Where are those producers that will be used to store the produce that the farmers are supplying? So, Mr. Speaker, this issue of having extension officers to the grassroots level is very noble, and I am sure that it will help our farmers and as a country to achieve our goal of making sure that our country is food secure and also having food so that our Kenyans cannot be facing, our public will not be facing starvations. Mr. Speaker, we must also see and focus on how, because all of us know that agriculture is a devolved function, but we have so many gaps in between here because county government seems not to care a lot about what is going on after distributing seedlings and all manner of things. So I think it's high time also for the Ministry of Agriculture to have a direct link with our agricultural staff at the county level so that our farmers can get all the necessary support and trainings which will help them achieve the goals in the agricultural sector. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I want to support and say that this is timely because as a country we have all the necessary infrastructures, the industrial parks, airports, like in Eldoret. We have a big international airport, but where the produce that needs to be supplied to international markets, very few or even not available. So this focus will help us as a country to achieve the agricultural goals. With all many mixed remarks, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for this time. Thank you. I support.
Well said. Member for Nyamira.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity so that I can also talk on the Agricultural and Livestock Extension Service Bill. Honorable Speaker, this is a very progressive bill which is before us as Parliament, because we as Kenyans, we understand that agriculture in our country is the backbone of our economy. And Mr. Speaker, when we talk about the backbone, when it is stable, when it is healthy, it makes the body to have its movement to wherever that the body may want to move to. Honorable Speaker, agriculture as the backbone of our country, if well taken care of, will make the economy of our country to prosper and will make the Kenyan citizens to have the best life that they may want to have, because the population will be fed and the population will be healthy from the agricultural products that we get from our farms. And for us to get the best agricultural products from our farms, we seriously need extension officers who go out and train our farmers on the type of crops which are needed in various types of soils, on the types of agricultural animals which can be reared or which can be reared in certain climates. And as we understand, we have climate change, which is quite different from that which we had from the early 80s and the early 90s. And because there is change in climate, we also need to change our tactic by having extension officers who are well trained, who can be able to know the type of climate and what is needed where. Honorable Speaker, this bill is talking about the county government and the national government. This time around, we do not want to have any gap, because we know agriculture is devolved, it is in counties, and if we give part of the work to the national government and part to the county government, then actually finally we are not going to succeed. So I want to urge the member who has brought this bill to make sure that there is no gap, that as we get the agricultural extension officers and as the agriculture is devolved, that there is enough money, there is enough resources which are given to counties so that the agriculture sector within our counties is well catered for, so that our farmers are able to access, if it is fertilizer, if it is the type of animals which maybe we may want to be reared in certain counties, they are able to be accessed by giving enough resources to the counties, which can also be extended to the farmers. And once they have been given, then we shall need the extension officers to be giving the new technology which has come up on how each animal or on how each agricultural product which we have is supposed to be taken care of in our farms. So I want to support this bill, and I know once it goes through, our counties are going to get the resources which will make sure that enough is going to farmers, and farmers are going to get enough food for our country because a nation which is fed well will prosper and it will make the economy to grow. So, Mr. Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Honourable members, before I give the next member to contribute, join me in welcoming students from Waithaka Boys, from Kiharu constituency, Murang'a County, and students from St. Joseph Matiku, Kibwezi West constituency, Makueni County. They are welcome to follow our proceedings this afternoon and to learn from what goes on in Parliament. The next speaker here would be the member for Embakasi South.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute towards this very, very important bill. The Senate bill on agriculture and livestock extension services and officers bill 2022. I might start by saying that the bill is long overdue, having been received last year, 2024 here. It's long overdue, and now that it's here, we must make sure that we pass it. So I stand to support the Senate bill on extension officers and extension services. Actually, looking back a few years ago, the country used to have extension officers who were able to support the farmers so as to be able to produce quality products. Kenya was one of the top countries in production of coffee. Coffee and tea used to be amongst the top earners of forex or foreign exchange for the country. But nowadays, agriculture has dwindled down as much as it produces 22% of our GDP. It is not well supported by providing enough knowledge and skills to the farmers. There is need to equip the farmers with enough information and enough equipment and technology so that they are able to produce the best. There is need to mechanize and improve technology to the point of even using such items as drones. Technology has improved so much. We can start, in other countries, people are using drones to spray. There is need to equip the farmers with enough information, and these extension officers will be able to do the same. The types of cows that we are rearing, majority of them are the small, short zebu cows that you'll find in most of the country. And yet, we have such good breeds that a farmer can acquire at almost the same price. Breeds like Saiwal, breeds like Brahman, breeds like Borana, that a farmer can, a fully grown bull from the Zebu breed will earn you 35,000, 40,000. A fully grown Borana will earn you 160,000, 170,000 shillings. But due to lack of information, due to lack of connectivity, due to the failure of us devolving the knowledge that is available, our farmers are still keeping the small cows. There is no place in the country that we cannot grow anything we want. There is no place in the country that we cannot keep livestock. Anywhere in the country, there are deserts like Dubai, Qatar, that are producing in greenhouses excellent. In fact, like Qatar Airline, all the food is grown in a farm in Qatar, a desert. You can go to Garissa and Moyale and Mandera and produce or even keep we are able to keep camels there. They just need a little bit of support. There is enough feed. Nowadays, in terms of fodder, there is excellent feed. The likes of Junkao. A Junkao napier is a type of a napier grass. A Junkao napier will grow to about 6 meters tall. And yet, once you cut it, you're able. So we're able to feed our animals with just a small acre. You can keep 20 cows with this 1 acre with some of the fodders that is readily available. So this issue of extension officers is very, very important. I fully support it. Nowadays, when you go to the agrovets in the rural area, they don't have the knowledge. They will, if your cow is unwell or if your animal is unwell, they will, even if you describe to them, they are unable to give you the proper prescription for your cow. But with the extension officers, we are able to train the farmers that if this happens, this is what you do. I highly recommend that we make sure that we have an extension officers per ward. That's only 1,450 wards. That's only 1,450 extension officers. And we can be one of the best. We are still importing eggs from our neighbors. We are still importing beans, maize, and onions from the other neighbor in the south. So, but with enough knowledge, we have the capacity, we have the land. And some of us are farmers in our side jobs. So we can impact this knowledge to the other farmers through the extension officers. A long time ago, a few more seconds, a long time ago, or a few 2 decades or so back, the extension officers or the Ministry of Agriculture used to organize and say, in this region, grow cotton. And it would be picked and bought and taken to the places like the former Kikomi, Raymond, etc. In this region, grow this item. The extension officers will be able to advise our farmers that, yes, plant avocado, but try to plant this type of avocado that you'll be able to harvest at this time, which our largest competitor, it's known, the largest competitor of any country in the world is Peru, that floods with avocado. So, but if you plant this type of avocado, you'll be able to harvest it at this time when the Peru's avocado is not in the market, and you'll get premium market price. So this bill is long overdue. I fully support it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Member for Turkana East.
Thank you, Speaker, for giving me this chance to add my voice to this, giving to our farmers, both at the national level and all the way to the villages. During those days, we used to have these officers in every village or a division location and of livestock because of drought. But during those days, these officers, they can give our farmers early warning alerts. And by doing so, our farmers can strategize on ways of saving their livestock. But nowadays, they are just caught up. And by doing so, they lose a lot of livestock because they are not prepared for what is coming. Mr. Speaker, our farmers need education, or they need to know new techniques of farming. But because of these services, because of the lack of these services, they can't get these new technologies. You find that in this house, we do allocate more monies to hire teachers for our schools so that our kids can get education. It is the same way we need to do to our farmers, because they need to be educated. They need to get new technologies so that they can plant the right crops at the right time And by doing so, we can get enough food and we avoid the issue of giving our people the relief food, as what we used to do in some